Hey y'all, welcome back to Unfiltered Truth. For this weekday wake up, we are gonna read a little portion from the Ian Levinzant Faith in the Valley, my favorite book. And I'm on page 169, and this is about release. Maybe what you really need is a spiritual diet. A spiritual diet will cut down on the excess weight you carry around in your soul, the weight of people who have disappointed you or hurt you, the weight of things you should have done, could have done, or wanted to do, but couldn't bring yourself to do. As a matter of fact, that weight around your middle could be those people you've been hanging around or allowing to hang on to you. The heaviness in your legs could be all those things you convinced yourself you were not smart enough, good enough, or ready enough to do. That sluggish, heavy feeling you have in your heart might be your dreams, goals, and fantasies. You haven't put them to use, so they've turned to weight, spiritual weight, which has your whole life weighed down. Yes, I believe a spiritual diet is exactly what you need. You can start right now with a heaping portion of forgiveness, smothered in surrender. You will also need a big helping of laughter 3 to 4 times a day. Next, you must begin each day with prayer, followed by a dose of gratitude. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, sprinkle everything with faith, wash it down with courage, and let your dessert be a swig of confidence. If you follow these directions with all your heart, you will experience a miraculous weight loss. Lose a little weight and worry with a spiritual diet. So, what's so interesting about this is that I had the episode notes written out completely separate, right? Like I did the episode notes about maybe I don't know, a week ago. And then today, I'm like, let me see. There should be something in here about release. Okay. And it went exactly with what I have written down for our notes. So, okay, so that's funny, but that's just another confirmation that this is my lane. That's what I'm supposed to do. So, what I was gonna share and what I was gonna start out with was, I don't weigh myself. I don't get on the scale and like weigh myself regularly. I will every now and then, but it's rare. And I just don't like to do it because it don't matter whether it's a high number or a low number. It don't matter, but the number stays in my head, and it's like I focus on the number all the time. And once I know what it is, it's like I can just keep thinking about it. I don't know. And it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. It really don't matter. But I got something right here. I'm sorry. So yeah. But anyways, it's very rare. Like I might weigh myself maybe 2 or 3 times a year, if that. Really, I really just kind of go by how my clothes fit, and then I know if I need to tighten up or whatever. Okay. So anyway, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks or so, I weighed myself, right? And it's the first time, probably, I don't even remember the last time I did. I don't know, probably last winter or maybe like in the spring or something like that, maybe. But anyways, I weighed myself and I was 20. It had to be the fall. It had to be like right at the fall or late summer. Anyways, it was 20 pounds down from the last time when I did. Okay. And which was like, how? I don't know. Cause I didn't do nothing. Like, what did I do? So I wasn't dieting. I wasn't, like I try to stay active and I try to exercise, but keeping it real with you, I don't exercise the way that I used to. I used to really go hard every day, and I haven't been doing that for quite a while because I got a lot going on and stuff, and it's just, for me to get up and work out the way that I want to, it's almost like I got to do it at 4 a.m, and I really just don't want to do that early in the morning. So I might do something a little bit more lightweight later in the day or something. And it really just depends on how my schedule is looking and stuff like that. So I haven't been placing my fitness as a high priority. Not to say that I don't want to, I just haven't been. And so I wasn't really paying attention to anything. I was just kind of doing my thing. So for me to get on the scale and it's 20 pounds lighter and I did not do anything at all, and I know that I haven't, to the point where I was feeling like, dang, I feel like I should be doing something because I haven't been doing right or whatever. So once I saw that it was, lighter, I'm like, hey, well, what did I do? Like, what is different now than before, right? So the only thing that I could really think of was that I had released some stuff. I had really just like shed weight. I had let go of all the things that were out of my control, like, just surrendered to the Lord's will, being, letting him do whatever he want to do, with some of those harder situations in my life and stuff, right? I've released people. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, sometimes you have people kind of come in and out of your life, and when they exit, sometimes we hold on to them. We're still friends with them, even if they aren't friends with us. We're still sending love and all of the things, and we're, thinking about them and whatever, praying for them and all of that sort of stuff. With people, even if they're choosing not to be involved in our life or whatever, for whatever reason. And, that's totally fine, right? But sometimes, like, as we are transitioning out of situations, whether it be a job, whether it be a relationship, or maybe you move away, to a different place or something like that, when you're transitioning from one thing to another, and it don't even have to be something big. It could just be something simple, but there's a process of release that kind of has to go along with that, in order for you to um, actually be in that new situation, whatever that new situation is, or however that looks. Okay. So let me give you an example, because I think those work best. So okay, so like, I was married, right? So when I was married, I was a wife, and I had to be a wife, and I did all the things that wives do, right? And so that was my focus, and that was important. But before I was a wife, I was a daughter. I was not a mother yet, but I was a daughter. So my focus was my parents and making my parents proud, doing things to, become more independent and responsible and whatever, and take care of my, like, support my parents physically, because, there were some things that were not as easy for them to do anymore or whatever, right? And so, I went from being a daughter to a wife. Okay. So when you're a daughter, boys or guys that you're dating or whatever, boyfriends, whatever you want to call that, they are not above your parents. Like, they're kind of at the bottom. You got your job, you got your side hustles, you got your family, your pets, like, you got all these other things you got to take care of before you can kick it with the boo. Okay. That's just how it goes, right? Well, once you become engaged, now you're getting ready to be someone's wife, okay? But you're still not someone's wife. You're still somebody's daughter, and they're paying for your wedding. So so you have certain responsibilities and stuff like that you gotta, they are still the priority, even though you're engaged. Like, your fiance is very important, but it's almost like they're running neck and neck, right? Okay, so once you get married and it's all said and done, now you're a wife. Your husband is your head. Like, your husband is your top priority. Your household, all the things that go along with being a wife, like all of that, because now he is your next of kin and you are his next of kin. But you had to transition from being a daughter with both parents as your emergency contact or whatever, or however that situation is for you, to now you're a wife. And so it's somebody it's not a stranger because it's your fiance, but in essence, it's kind of like a stranger now is your next of kin. Like, you have to do this whole like switcheroo, right? Okay. And then I got divorced, but I already had kids. So then I, was a wife and a mother, right? Wife/mother. But then I got divorced. So then when I got divorced, I had to transition out of being a wife into just being a mom, and being single and a mom. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for my parents that do so much to help me out and always have. And really, even more so since I've been divorced, I appreciate them so much. And as I'm finishing up this degree, and they do so much, right? I'm grateful for them. Now, as you are, as much as I love and appreciate my parents, when I'm married, I can't hold them in that same space. I have to be willing to let go of that to a certain degree so that something else can fill that space, right? So my husband now has to be my next of kin. He has to be, I have to check in with him now instead of checking in with my parents, just different things like that, right? Okay, so when we have our ups and downs of life, right? Same thing. Sometimes we go through emotional ups and downs, spiritual, mental, physical ups and downs. We experience turbulence or trauma, turmoil, conflict, whatever. Okay, we experience a lot of different things. Sometimes just pain, sickness, illness, whatever. And if we are not in that situation anymore, but we're still kind of in that situation. So physically, we're not in that situation, but mentally, we still are in that situation. Then we are holding ourselves back. We are weighing ourselves down. Okay. And I think all of us, me included, sometimes we can go through something that kind of gives us a little jerk or whatever, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever. And that situation or incident could have happened, you know, days ago, weeks ago, months ago, years, however, right? And we have to come to a point where we let go of that thing that happened and we are now living in the present. Okay. We don't have to, but if we don't, we are still being stuck in the past, even though our body is in the present, because our mind is reflecting on all the things in the past that went wrong, all the bad things that we had to overcome, blah, 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 all this negative stuff. And that keeps our vibration very low. Okay. I might just lost some people, but that's I don't know how to explain that real fast. Okay. So basically, like, your thoughts and your emotions, your mood, like that is your vibration. Okay. That's how you come off to other people. That's how, like, when you see somebody and you're talking to them, you can tell right away, like, if they in a bad mood, they sad, they down about something, they trying to fake the funk and, act like they whatever, but you can feel it. You can feel that they are not in their best space. Okay. So that's their vibration. All right. So if you're on a lower frequency, it's usually because you keep on thinking about a bunch of negative stuff. And it's, so much to the point where you have negative things buried in the back of your mind, your subconscious, and our subconscious mind controls like 90 to 95% of the things that we actually do. Okay. We don't have to think about waking up to brush our teeth. We don't have to think about washing our face, or, we don't have to put a lot of thought into those activities because these are things we do all the time. Even when we drive to the same place all the time, we drive to work every single day. There are some things that we can kind of do, almost on autopilot, for the most part. Right. But there are other things that we really have to put a lot of thought and care in. Right. One of those things that we have to put a lot of thought and care in is releasing stuff. Like, we have to really dissect and think about, is this good for me or no? Is this serving me or no? Is this helping me, beneficial to me or no? And if it's not, we got to be willing to let go of it. And that doesn't mean that we're throwing it to the wind. We're just discarding people or disposing things left and right. We're so careless with stuff or whatever. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that we don't value people or things or whatever, experiences and stuff. It just means that sometimes we got to move on, and moving on means letting go. right? Let go so that you can move on. You can't move forward, or like, you can't if you're still holding on to everything in the past. I mean, you can physically, you can get there. Time is still gonna pass. You still gonna have birthdays. You still gonna move on. Like, as long as, Lord willing, you still living, you will wake up again and again and again. But if you choose to hold on to these things that happened years and years ago, or weeks ago, months ago, whatever, then that is really where you're living. Your energetic body, your energetic being, yourself, your inner self is in the past, but your body is in the present. And so if you're going to move forward and if you're going to progress, you got to let go of the past. It's almost like if you have one foot in quicksand and the other foot you're trying to run. Like, you got to pull that foot out of the quicksand that's pulling you down before you can now go for a run. Okay. So you have to let go of some of that other stuff. Right. And so, for me, the process of this is like, you know, first, being aware of what's going on. How am I feeling? How are certain things, people, situations affecting me, impacting me? And if I feel that this is something that cannot be resolved, I've done everything that I know how to do to try to keep everything, positive, productive, and stuff like that. Once I know that I've done everything, I've prayed, I've asked God to show me whatever it is, if I'm wrong, show me that I'm wrong so I can make it right. I've done all of those things, and it's still what it is because that's what somebody else choose to make it, or maybe the situation just is what it is. If you're at a job and the job is a toxic or hostile work environment, and it's just that, like, that's what it is, it's not going to change. Once you realize that you're coming up against, or you're bumping up against something that is just so heavy, and like unwilling, just completely unwilling to let go, to accept the possibility that maybe something was amiss, or to like shift in any type of way to support you, the whether it be your job or whatever situation, right? Once you realize that thing, that opposition is just not, it's not trying to hear you, it's not trying to support you or adjust or anything like that, right? Then that's where you got to make a decision. And that part is not always easy. Sometimes I think we wait for closure, we wait for resolution to come from somewhere else. Like, we don't want to be the one to end it. We don't want to be the one to quit our job. We want something to happen to make it like so impossible for us to continue working there. Like, we want it to be so blatantly obvious that we're supposed to move on. Sometimes dealing with people, the same thing. We won't leave them. We will wait for them to do something all the way messed up to where we have absolutely no choice, or they walk away from us. Okay. And then we just have to deal with it. Right. Sometimes that's kind of how we move. We're not usually the one, well, some of us aren't anyway, are not the one to just jump in and, kick people to the curb, or, just up and quit a job because we don't like it or it don't feel good or whatever. Like, we usually put a lot more thought and care into those type of choices and stuff, right? And so once we realize that something is not healthy for us, it's not supportive of what God wants for us, or what God is calling us to do, it's not accepting of who God called us to be, or it's in contradiction with what we know is best for us and for what God, in alignment with God wants for us. Okay. So once we realize that, yeah, this ain't it. then, we got to make a choice. How are we going to deal with that? Are we going to wait for that person to pull the plug, or for that job to do something out the way, or are we going to have the courage to just like pull back and redirect our energy, right? And so for myself, what I found is that I have gotten very, very good at giving things up to the Lord, letting Him have them, and then pulling back out of that situation, pulling myself all the way out so that He can do whatever He wants to do. If that means that He got to check me and I got to do something, then I will do that. And then, but once all of that is said and done, and like I've done everything, then I turn it over. I leave it to Him. I let Him do whatever He's going to do. And, I ask Him to help me be okay with whatever that outcome looks like. If the relationship is not restored, if we don't reconcile, if we don't if the job doesn't end up flipping and working out, or if the money don't get right, if whatever, what I'm saying, no matter what, I have to be okay with whatever is going on. And so therefore, by surrendering, I'm telling God, I trust you to do whatever it is that you want to do. And I also trust you to comfort me or take care of me, guide me, direct me in the process, even if that means that I'm the one that needs to adjust or shift, right? And then lastly, redirecting my energy, focusing on things that I know are going to raise my vibration, bring me more joy, bring me more peace, bring me more love. And that is cultivated inside, internally. And that's not by myself. That's by me giving gratitude, and praise, okay, to the Most High. So, we hear all the time, when praises go up, blessings come down. All right. And so, it's basically that, like, focusing on other parts of my life that are going well, that are working well. I put more energy and more focus into those things and nurture those things, and let Him deal with the other things that are sick, dying, wilted, or whatever, or just need to be thrown out, period. And I focus on those things instead that He wants me to focus on, He wants me to put more energy into. And then that just kind of allows everything to take shape and balance according to His will. And it's not my responsibility to fix people, to fix situations or environments. It's not my duty to do that. Okay. It's my duty to be obedient and to manage my temple so that I can be of service and I can be used as a vessel, for His kingdom. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to worry about, fixing other people, fixing other situations, trying to make everything right, things that are beyond my power and my control. That's not my job. And so even worrying about something that is out of our control is still trying to control it to a certain degree, because you want it to be how you want it to be. And so you keep focusing on, why is it not that? How can it be that? Or whatever, right? And so those things are what weigh us down. And so sometimes we don't even realize how much weight we're carrying until we put our burdens down. So today, I don't want you to forget. I want to remind you. I just want this to be your daily reminder that you don't have to hold on to anything that is not doing you justice, that's not filling your cup, not fulfilling your heart, your mind, your spirit. If it is something contrary to your peace, you don't need to hold on to it. If you're choosing to hold on to it, know that that's your choice. You don't have to. If someone is showing you through their actions that they are not trying to treat you right or be in your life, or whatever, let it go. Just let it go. Let them be, let them do what they do, and know what's true for you. Like, know what's true for you, what you deserve, what you require. Whether that be your job, whether that be, situations with people or whatever. Like, don't entertain things that are out of alignment with God's will for your life. That's how you bring stress onto yourself and weigh yourself down. So remember today that you always have the choice to shed some weight. On that note, I will check you out at a different time, and thanks for listening or watching if you're on YouTube.